Hello. Thank you, Fiona. I didn't realize that Fiona is going to read my whole CV. So thank you so much. I think it's a really like a privilege, really big privilege for me to be here tonight. And okay, I think it's okay. Yeah. And thank you, Fiona, for inviting me. And it's just an honor to see the house is full. And even if all of you are here, even if it's a Friday evening, as Greg suggested. And it's nice to be here with Anna and Greg. And thank you so much for all. So coming to the context. So as Greg said, the challenge is really a big problem statement. But you don't have to look at the challenge as a full sentence. You look at it as a building block and see what are the different aspects of that challenge that you already know or you are not aware of that. And as Greg suggested also, I think he has put the context really well, because even if you are doing something really different in your academics or you are coming from a different part of the career, you look at it in a totally blank slate. Okay, so I will try to give you some idea and context of my background, being from India, and try to give you some ideas about how to do some work as a team when you are having a diverse, different field of people together. So I come from India, and I come from the eastern part of India. It's from Calcutta. And as Greg suggested, the Saurabh Ganguly, so it's just I put some of the things about my culture. Because I think wherever you go in your life and career, your culture, you always carry it with you. And then you then mix up with the new place and the new people. So obviously the journey started from India. I have traveled, very fortunate that I traveled in different parts of the world and also different parts of India I'll share with you. And now I'm settled in Australia, and hopefully this would be my home for the future, and you never know what will come next. So just to give you a background about my education, so I have done my bachelor's in agriculture. So that is the reason when Fiona contacted me, I felt like this is something where probably I can contribute a little bit more. Because having done the bachelor's in agriculture in India, you can actually understand how much you have to understand the basics, all the basics about agriculture, but also the basics about what are the different problems that you face when you are actually farming in a country which is really populated. And then I did my master's in food technology, because whatever you grow in the field, you have to process it. Some of the things you can directly eat, but most of the things get processed, and then it is suitable for consumers to eat. And definitely it has to be tasty, it has to be healthy, and people are nowadays so much health conscious, they're very much aware about where the food is coming from. So this is really important for all of us to think about it. And then giving you some context. So you all, I can see that, there are different parts of the world you are representing today, so it's a really good mix of people you are. So just to give you a background about India, there are 7 megacities there will be by 2030. So it's another kind of, around 11 years. So you can see there's 27 million inhabitants, and it's a really big populated whole country. And then you think about the capital of the country in New Delhi. There are big problems about the resource challenges. So obviously, when you have, I have a really nice photo that I'll share with you, as Greg suggested, how that urban growth has been. You can see from a photo from NASA, they have captured in kind of a 30, 40 years back how it was Delhi and now it is. So definitely it is small place and have lots of people. So lots of high rises. But then, with that, there are some of the ideas you can think about, growing food on your rooftop, growing food underground, the stations, because there are so many new innovative ideas are coming where you can actually grow food with the, not the artificial, like natural lighting, but the artificial lighting, hydroponics. So some of the areas where it is not livable, you can actually use it for growing food. So think about that in mind. And definitely the resource availability and access, that is really important. But one of the ideas would be the competitiveness. So if you are coming up with a solution that is really innovative, think about, as Greg suggested, is there any competitor? Is already someone doing it in Italy or France, in Germany? So when you are thinking about your ideas or your solution, think about not only India, but think what is a similar kind of a country, similar kind of a situation other countries are facing. And you can take different things from different places, pick and choose, and then put together your ideas. And then when you talk about Delhi, I like really this slide because it shows the circles of sustainability, and it is a kind of a spider diagram. So you can see, to explain it, this is a kind of a color coding. So obviously green is always good wherever you go, and more towards yellow and then red, that means really it is critical for that, for anything. So for Delhi, you can put like economics, politics, ecology, and culture. So you can see that most of them are yellow and orange, and a couple of them are in the red. So you can see the politics is definitely because this is the hub of the country, but culture is also a big kind of a part of New Delhi too. So there are lots of different religion, people are living together, and they are actually having a lot of effect on the ecology and the social context of it, how you are managing. So that means when you are thinking about the food and the solution, not everyone will eat the same food. Not everyone will eat the food the same way. So you have to think about that. So obviously, the rice can be made so many different ways and so many different things you can eat. So you can eat in a sushi, or you can eat it as a fried rice, or you can eat as a white rice. So think about that, thinking about how you cater to those kind of needs. This is the photo. I should have put it before. So you can see the urban growth. So Delhi, as Greg mentioned already, it is so small in compared to Sydney. It's just so small, really. But then how much it has actually progressed. Because what happened then initially in 1989, it was like, lots of green. So that means lots of agricultural areas were available for them to farm. So you don't have to worry about, where your food is coming from, because you have only small space where the people are living, and the rest everyone is farming. But then slowly in 2018, so this is on last year from NASA, and I have had lots of references at the end of my slide deck, okay? So you can actually go through all those things and have a look at yourself. So you can just see the sprawling growth in only a couple of years, like 30, 40 years. So thinking about in another 20 years, how it would be. And then there is one of the thing is also the traffic and the road space. Because when you think about food production, if you are actually producing, suppose 1 hour away from here, suppose you are thinking about Sydney, okay, 1 hour away from here, so you have to have a really good road transport or some transport facility to make sure that you are, whatever the leafy vegetables, the salad leaves, when you are growing and you want to make it really quickly to the market, you have that access. So that means, whatever you are actually growing, you are able to deliver to your consumers. So otherwise, there is no need of growing food, because if you can't actually deliver it in a cost-effective way. And then waste. Because that is really, so definitely this slide, you will get it, so I'm not going to read it, but there's one of the important thing is actually how you are managing your waste. So definitely food packaging, not only, but also when you are using a lot of food, but then you are just thinking this is not looking good, so this is not fresh, so you're throwing it out. So how you are actually making it recycle to the environment. So there are lots of challenges. So that probably, this slide will probably give you some of the hints at what we are facing in Delhi. Definitely population increase and land use and environment challenges, but definitely water crisis. Greg has done a great job. I'm not going to talk about it, but that has a really big impact on the human health. You are now more more dependent on the ready-made food. People are like, both of them, husband and wife are working, so there's not much time to cook. So you just go to your supermarket, bring some food, frozen food, heat it up, eat it. You are not only eating, you are also making your children eat that. So you are actually losing that touch with your environment because you are so much dependent on that kind of food. And then definitely one of the things for the urban growth is New Delhi has one of the India's highest per capita income. So definitely, people want to earn more, they want to live well, but living well sometimes doesn't, actually living well in a country like that. Geographic size, and then the heat island effect. That's because of that localized climate change. So air quality, that has an impact on that. And we have seen so many reports coming, the pollution and air pollution is so high that people are actually wearing masks. And in the winter time, the fog is actually so dense that they have to cancel so many flights. So probably this has nothing direct impact on your challenge, but think about all that, because something, it will help. And there are a couple of things that actually Delhi, Indian government is actually doing. One of the things, definitely, we are talking about the 3 Rs, reduce, reuse, and recycle. And that actually started the whole Swachh Bharat Abhijan. And I think being an Indian myself, like I call myself an Indo-Australian now. So I can imagine, in Australia, we take things really seriously. So going back to India, it feels like we have to do a lot. And I'm really glad that they have started. And then some of the things from the Swachh Bharat Abhijan that I think it will actually help you to think about when you are thinking about your solutions. And the last slide, some tips for you, okay? So totally think outside the box. I have been really honored to participate in a hack last year, February, and then I won one of the hack it was in Wagga Wagga. That was also in agriculture. So, and I met with people who were one software engineer and one is data analyst. They were nothing like agriculture, but we are talking about agriculture. But what happens when you come from different parts of the journey, you share things, you bring things to the table that you, as an individual person, you can't think about, okay? So don't think any idea is small. Start writing everything, because you can always, take them out later, but don't restrict yourself that it is, I have to only think about this. And then work as a team. Really work as a team. Make sure that you exchange ideas and talk to your teammates, and I think that will help. I think that's the one. And the last slide is thank you so much. And I'll be available here on Sunday afternoon. I think I would like to see something with the business model, the lean canvas. I have been trained with that. So I would like to see whatever you are developing, is it really sustainable and scaling up, all that thing. Thank you.